Okay, so we are now at level 1.1. Level 0 was very easy, right? Level 0 was all about like the numbers that are really nice. And by the way, we do have a name for these numbers that are like, nice squared numbers. Let's go ahead and call them perfect square, okay? Because they are, well, they're so perfect, right? So we can find out the square root so easily. It's a nice number, which it's a little bit different from what we see at number level 1.1. Now you can see, oh, we are trying to simplify square root of 8. Now, my understanding is that you did something similar back in Algebra 1, you did something similar back in geometry, but again, okay, let's start new, all right, in case you forgot all those stuff, it's okay. But I would tell you that this is a skill that you should have, you should acquire from Algebra 2. And after you finish this topic, we will assume that you know how to do this topic. All right. We will assume that you know the skill. Okay. So now, how do we get to the simplification part of square root of 8? Okay. Now, when we think about square root of 8, okay, so we focus on the 8 first. Okay. And we think about, can we break down the 8 in such a way that includes a perfect square number? Okay, and that's why I told you to know the perfect square numbers, the previous video, like, these guys right here, you should know them. So we go to a square root of 8 and we say, oh yeah, let's break down 8. So now the thought process is to break it down and think about, what's 8? Well, 1 times 8 is 8, but it could also be 2 times 4, right? Or 4 times 2. Now, I'm going to write down 4 times 2 here, okay? Now, and this is one little property that you should know, and that is square root of a times b is the same as square root of a times square root of b, okay? That's one little property that you should know. Okay. However, I would also warn you, okay, that square root of a plus b, it does not equal to square root of a plus square root of b. Now, I know the memorization part is kind of hard. So what I usually do to verify myself is this. Okay. I'm thinking like this. Okay. I'm thinking like, let me see. No, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. Okay. Square root of 4 times 4, right? Well, we know what square root of 4 times 4 is, square root of 16, which is 4, right? And then I'm gonna prove myself that everything it's gonna be okay. All right. So this is how I prove that square root of 4, it's 2. And we end up with 2 times 2, which is 4. That is what square root of 16 is, right? So that's okay. But now, how do I prove myself that the property on the right, the addition, it's not true? Well, you can think about 4 plus 4, okay? Okay, so if you are contemplating of breaking down the square root into to the 4, like spread it out to the 4s and add them together, well, you would quickly realize that square root of 8 does not equal to 2 plus 2, which is 4. Okay, so that's how you know this whole thing, like distributing the square root, it's a nonsense. Okay, so please make sure that you are aware of these properties. If you don't know, just try to register them from now on. Okay, but now we'll focus on this part. Okay. So again, we try to break down the 8 using a perfect square number. And why perfect square number? Because that's how it allows us to simplify it. So we'll say, hey, what's square root of 4? That is 2. So square root of 8 is the same thing as 2 times square root of 2. And sometimes we just go ahead and write down 2 square root of 2. And the way we say it faster is 2 root 2. Okay. I'm not sure if you remember last year in geometry when you were doing a special right triangles. you did see something like this, but again, just make sure that you are okay from now on. So that's a key, okay? Whenever we are trying to simplify this whole square root, we are thinking about the number underneath the square root, and we ask, is there a way that we can break it down? And while we break it down, we try to use a perfect square number so that it can help us out, okay? And for now, I'm going to do it slowly, okay? Writing down what's going on in the middle of the process, but eventually, I would say I expect you to go directly from square root of 8 to root 2, okay? This part of the process right here will be done mentally, okay? So for now, I'm going to show you all the process, all the works in between. Okay, so square root of 18. Okay, we do the same thing. Let's see if we can break it down to 18. Now we have a couple of ways to break down 18. 1 times 18, 3 times 6. Now we would not choose 3 times 6 because neither of these two numbers are perfect square. It can also be 9 times 2, and we will choose 9 times 2 because 9 is a perfect square. And by thinking about this, we will get 3 square root of 2 as our simplified answer. Okay, we simplify square root of 18 to be 3 times square root of 2. All right, now let's go one more. All right, what about square root of 20? Now we can do 2 times 10, but again, neither of them it's a perfect square, but we can do what? We can do 4 times 5. Okay, and when we do 4 times 5, it's the same thing as square root of 4 times square root of 5, which is 2 times square root of 5. All right, okay. And then number 4, okay, number 4, 27, it's 9 times 3, right? 9 times 3, and we choose it because 9, it's a perfect square. And so we will have square root of 9 times square root of 3, which brings us to 3 times square root of 3. Okay, well, 3 root 3. Now, another thing I want to emphasize here, it's a habit that I've been talking since day 1 of this course. You've got to write down all these equal signs. And that's not just a formality, okay? It's not just a formality. It's a way to help you check if you're on the right track or not. If things are not equal, then you know something is wrong. Like for the one we just did, I know that I am right because we wrote down square root of 9 here. And what is square root of 9? It's equal to 3. Okay. Did I do anything with the square root of 3 right here? Well, I didn't do anything about it, so I keep writing it. All right. So things are going to be equal from one step to another, and that's how you know. Okay. Now, so you can now go ahead and try the other problems, okay, from 5 through 8, and then you can check the answer key to see if you're right, okay?